I noticed a frightening pattern in the noise. It is not in the headlines. It is not in the government reports that claim unemployment is low and everything is fine. If you look at the raw data, if you look at the streets of San Francisco, London, or Toronto, and then compare them to the balance sheets of the S&P 500 companies, you see a fracture, a vertical split in reality. We are witnessing the violent death of the statistical average. The middle ground is dissolving beneath our feet like wet sand. For 70 years, the global economy was built on a promise. The promise was simple. Go to school, get a degree, get a safe job, buy a house, save 10%, retire. That promise was the bedrock of the middle class. I am here to tell you that the bedrock has turned into quicksand. The era of the average is over. We are entering the age of the K-shaped recovery, and this is not a temporary phase. This is the new permanent operating system of the global economy. You have a choice to make right now, and I mean right now, while you are listening to this. You can cling to the old map, the one your parents used, the one that leads to a cliff. Or you can look at the territory as it actually is. Let's decode the signal. The letter K. Think about its shape. A vertical line and then two arms. One arm goes up at a 45-degree angle. The other arm goes down at a 45-degree angle. This is exactly what is happening to the human population. The arm going up? That is the asset class. The technology owners. The capital allocators. The people who understand that leverage has changed. Their wealth is not just growing, it is compounding at a velocity we have never seen in human history. The arm going down? That is the labor class. The people who sell their time for money. The people who save in fiat currency. The people who believe that a university degree is a ticket to safety. Their purchasing power is evaporating. Their job security is being eroded by algorithms that don't sleep and don't ask for a raise. The frightening part is the space in between the two arms. That gap? That is where the middle class used to live. That gap is widening. It is becoming an abyss. And if you are standing in the middle, trying to play it safe, you are about to fall in. We need to understand why this is happening. This is not an accident. It is not bad luck. It is a feature of the transition from the industrial age to the digital age, accelerated by monetary policy that few people truly understand. Let's strip away the illusions and look at the three engines driving this divergence. Engine number one is the death of time-based value. For 200 years, the economy paid you for your time. You showed up at 9, you left at 5. You did a repetitive task. You got paid. It did not matter if you were brilliant or just average, as long as you were present. The factory needed bodies. The corporation needed managers to manage the bodies. The system was designed to support a massive middle layer of administration and execution. But look at what is happening now. Technology has decoupled output from time. An artificial intelligence model does not care about time. It cares about compute. A software script written by one person can do the work of 50 accountants in seconds. The leverage of the individual has gone to infinity. In the old world, if you wanted to reach 1 million people, you needed a printing press, a distribution network, and 500 employees. Today, you need a laptop and a connection. One person can generate the value of 1,000. This destroys the economic logic of the middle class. The middle class was paid for average competence. But in a digital economy, average is free. If an algorithm can write average copy, create average code, or do average legal analysis for zero marginal cost, then the market value of average human labor drops to zero. This is harsh. I know it sounds cold. But the market does not care about our feelings. It cares about efficiency. The premium for being pretty good is gone. You are either the best in the world at what you do, leveraging the machines, or you are the one being replaced by them. This pushes people to the extremes of the K-shape. The leveragers go up, the replaced go down. Engine number 2 is the inflation of assets versus the inflation of goods. Most people misunderstand inflation. They think it is just the price of milk going up. That is the least of your problems. The real inflation is in the assets required to maintain a middle-class life. Look at real estate. Look at the stock market. Look at premium education. Look at healthcare. Governments and central banks responded to every crisis of the last 20 years. The dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, the pandemic, in the exact same way. They printed money. Trillions and trillions of units of currency injected into the system. Where did that money go? Did it go into your savings account? No. It went into assets. It went into the financial system. It obeyed the Cantillon Effect. The people closest to the money printer, the banks, the corporations, the hedge funds, got the money first. They bought assets. By the time the money trickled down to the wage earner, prices had already risen. This created a mechanism where the rich get richer automatically because they own the things that inflate. The poor and the middle class get poorer automatically because they own the currency that is devaluing. If you are working for a salary and saving in cash, you are running up a down escalator that is moving faster than you can sprint. You are trying to buy a house that goes up in value by $50,000 a year, while you manage to save $5,000 a year. The math is broken. The middle class was built on the idea that hard work plus savings equals wealth. That equation has been deleted. Now the equation is assets plus leverage equals wealth. If you do not own equity, if you do not own intellectual property, if you do not own the robots, you are simply fuel for the system. Engine number 3 is the geographic decoupling. It used to be that your competition was the guy across the street. If you were an architect in Ohio, you competed with other architects in Ohio. Wages were protected by geography. Now, the Zoom window has shattered that protection. If a job can be done remotely, it can be done globally. This means the middle-class worker in a high-cost country is now competing directly with a hungry, highly educated worker in a low-cost country. Or they are competing with a silicon intelligence that lives in a server farm in Virginia. The average salary in the West is an anomaly on the global scale. It is a bubble, and bubbles always pop. The market is efficient. It seeks the lowest cost for the same output. Why would a corporation pay $80,000 for a mid-level analyst in New York when they can get the same output for $8,000 in Manila, or for 8 cents from an API? They won't, and they aren't. This is why the middle acts as a trap door. You think you are safe because you have a job title that sounds important. Senior Coordinator of Strategic Logistics. But if your output is digital, you are in the crosshairs. The K-shaped recovery is simply the market correcting this inefficiency. The top of the K represents those who have detached their income from their time and their location. They are the sovereign individuals. They operate in the cloud. They earn in strong currencies or deflationary assets, and they live wherever they want. The bottom of the K represents those who are anchored to a location, anchored to a time clock, anchored to a depreciating currency. So the question screams at us, How do you force yourself onto the upper branch of the K? We have to stop thinking like employees and start thinking like architects. First, you must ruthlessly audit your value proposition. Are you selling a commodity? If I can replace you with a freelancer platform or a piece of software, you are a commodity. Commodities compete on price, and in a race to the bottom, the winner is the one who can starve the longest. You do not want to win that race. You must move into the domain of specific knowledge. This is a concept the navalists talk about, and it is crucial. Specific knowledge is knowledge that cannot be trained. It is found at the intersection of your genuine curiosity and the market's need. If you are just an accountant, you are dead. But if you are an expert in tax implications for cross-border cryptocurrency transactions for creative agencies, now you are a monopoly of one. The AI cannot replicate the nuance of human relationships and highly specific novel context. Yet. Second, you must embrace leverage. The middle class fears debt and leverage because they were taught to be risk-averse. But in this new economy, leverage is the only way to escape velocity. I am not talking about credit card debt. I am talking about the three forms of leverage. Labor leverage, hiring people. This is the old way. It is messy and expensive. Capital leverage, using money to make money. This requires you to have money first. Permissionless leverage, code and media. This is the key to the upper K. Code and media are the new armies. You can write software that works for you while you sleep. You can create content, videos, articles, podcasts that advocates for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in every country simultaneously. This video you are listening to right now, this is leverage. I am doing the work once. It might be consumed by 10,000 or 10 million people. The effort is the same. The return is asymmetric. The middle-class mindset says, I do not want to put myself out there. I just want to do my job. That mindset is a suicide pact. In the attention economy, obscurity is poverty. If the market does not know you exist, you have zero leverage. You are at the mercy of a single employer who can fire you to boost their quarterly earnings by 0.01%. Third, you must become an owner. You cannot save your way to freedom anymore. The inflation rate of lifestyle assets exceeds the interest rate of savings. It is a mathematical impossibility. You need equity. You need to own a piece of a business, ideally your own business, or a piece of real estate, or a piece of a decentralized network. You need assets that breathe. Assets that react to money printing by inflating in value. When the government prints $1 trillion, the person with $1 million in cash cries. The person with $1 million in real estate cheers. The house did not change. The value of the money measuring it changed. You have to be on the right side of that equation. I want to address the emotional side of this, because this is scary. It is painful to realize that the rules we were raised with were lies. It hurts to realize that the safe path is actually the most dangerous path. We see people getting angry. They demand political solutions. They want taxes on the rich. They want universal basic income. They want the government to freeze time and bring back the 1950s. I am telling you, as a futurist, that is not going to happen. You cannot legislate away technology. You cannot vote away the global labor market. The genie is out of the bottle. The toothpaste is out of the tube. Pick your metaphor. The reality is the same. The government might throw you a lifeline. They might give you a stimulus check. They might introduce a digital currency stipend. But that will only keep you on the bottom arm of the K. It will be subsistence. It will be a digital serfdom. You will own nothing, and you will be told to be happy. Is that what you want? If you want to be on the top arm of the K, you have to take full, radical responsibility. You have to become a learning machine. The degree you got 10 years ago, it is obsolete. The half-life of a skill today is about 5 years. In 5 years, half of what you know will be useless. If you are not spending at least 5 hours a week deliberately upgrading your mental operating system, you are falling behind. You need to learn how to use the tools that are destroying the middle class. Do not fear AI. Master it. Be the human who directs the AI. The centaur. Half human, half machine. That is the winning archetype. The copywriter who uses AI writes 10 times faster. The coder who uses AI builds 10 times faster. The architect who uses AI designs 10 times faster. The gap between the AI-enabled worker and the traditional worker will be like the gap between a person with a tractor and a person with a shovel. You cannot compete with a tractor using a shovel. You just can't. And here is the counterintuitive truth. This is actually the greatest opportunity in history. The barriers to entry have never been lower. In 1990, if you wanted to start a TV station, you needed millions. Today, you need a phone. In 2000, if you wanted to build a software company, you needed a server room and a team of engineers. Today, you can use no-code tools and cloud hosting for $50 a month. The tools of production are in your hands. The means of distribution are in your pocket. The system is rigged, yes. But it is rigged in favor of those who build, those who create, and those who own. It is rigged against those who wait, those who comply, and those who consume. The middle class was a class of consumers. They were the engine that bought the cars and the fridges. But the planet cannot sustain that level of consumption, and the economy no longer needs that level of labor. We are moving from a mass economy to a niche economy. The top of the K is not just billionaires, it is the creators, the independent consultants, the specialized artisans, the community leaders, the people who have built a moat around their value. You do not need to be Elon Musk to be on the upper arm of the K. You just need to be disconnected from the fragility of the herd. Let's look at a scenario. 2 friends. Let's call them Mark and David. Mark follows the old rules. He gets a job at a logistics firm. He earns a decent salary. He buys a house with a huge mortgage. He buys a new car on credit. He saves 5% of his income in a low-yield savings account. He spends his evenings watching Netflix. He thinks he is safe. David sees the K-shape. He keeps his day job but lives well below his means. He rents a smaller place. He invests every spare dollar into a diversified portfolio of equities and crypto. But more importantly, he spends his evenings learning. He learns how to automate workflows. He starts a newsletter about supply chain efficiency. He builds an audience of 3,000 professionals. 5 years pass. Automation hits the logistics industry. An AI system optimizes the routes. Mark is laid off. He has a mortgage, car payments, and no unique skills. He enters a job market flooded with other laid-off Marks. He has to take a job at half his previous salary. He slides down the bottom of the K. David? The same AI system makes his day job redundant, but David has leverage. His newsletter is read by industry leaders. He consults for companies implementing the very AI that fired Mark. He uses his capital to buy distressed assets that Mark had to sell. David moves up the top of the K. Same industry, same starting point, different mindset, different outcome. This is the cruelty and the beauty of the current moment. Neutrality is dead. You cannot float. You either swim violently toward the surface or you sink. I want you to look at your life right now. Look at your income streams. Are they linear or exponential? If you stop working tomorrow, does the money stop? If the answer is yes, you are vulnerable. You need to build a system where the input is disconnected from the output. Think about the concept of anti-fragility. A glass cup is fragile. If you drop it, it breaks. A plastic cup is robust. If you drop it, it stays the same. The Hydra from mythology is anti-fragile. If you cut off one head, two grow back. You need to design a life that is anti-fragile. Chaos should make you stronger. If inflation spikes, good, your assets go up. If technology advances, good, your productivity goes up. If the job market crashes, good, your consulting rates go up because companies need help navigating the crisis. This requires a fundamental shift in identity. You are no longer a worker, you are a capitalist. Even if you have $10, you are an allocator of resources. Your time, your attention, your energy, these are resources. Stop selling them wholesale for a cheap price. Invest them. Invest your attention in things that make you smarter, not things that make you angry. The news is designed to make you angry, so you stay watching advertisements. That is a tax on your mind. Opt out. Invest your time in building relationships with people who are playing infinite games, not finite games. Avoid the cynics. The cynics are always right about the past, but they are always wrong about the future. Invest your energy in health, because the ultimate inequality is biological. The rich will live longer. They will have access to biohacking, better food, better diagnostics. If you are on the bottom of the K, you are fed corn syrup and sedated with cheap dopamine. Reclaim your biology. That is the foundation of your energy. The widening gap is not just financial. It is cognitive. It is biological. It is spiritual. We are seeing a speciation event. One species is becoming dependent, sedated, and algorithmically managed. The other species is becoming sovereign, enhanced, and creatively unleashed. This sounds dystopian, I know. But the future does not care about our utopias. It cares about dynamics. The dynamic is clear. Centralization of power, decentralization of opportunity. The big institutions are getting bigger, but the ability for a single individual to carve out a massive niche has never been greater. The middle is where the crush happens. The middle is where the giant institutions step on the little guy. Do not be in the middle. Be too small to be crushed, independent, agile, or too big to be ignored, influential, leveraged. You have to choose a side. Side A, victim. The system is unfair. The rich are evil. I will wait for the government to fix it. I will complain on social media. Side B, victor. The system is changing. I will learn the new rules. I will build my own safety net. I will create value that cannot be ignored. Every day you scroll TikTok for 2 hours, you are voting for side A. Every day you eat processed garbage, you are voting for side A. Every day you buy things you do not need with money you do not have to impress people you do not like, you are voting for side A. But every time you write a line of code, every time you publish a piece of content, every time you buy a fraction of a share, every time you read a difficult book. You are voting for side B. The compound interest of these choices is brutal. After 1 year, the difference is invisible. After 5 years, the difference is noticeable. After 10 years, the difference is an unbridgeable canyon. We are currently in the early stages of this divergence. The cement is wet. You can still move. You can still reposition yourself. But the cement is drying fast. The technologies that are coming, Web3, the metaverse, general artificial intelligence, CRISPR, these will accelerate the split. They act as multipliers. If you are 0, anything multiplied by 0 is still 0. If you are 1, the multiplier sends you to 100. Get to 1. That is your only mission. Get to a position where you have ownership, leverage, and specific knowledge. Do not listen to the people who tell you to wait for things to go back to normal. Normal is dead. Normal was a historical blip between 1945 and 2008. We are back to the jungle. In the jungle, you do not survive by being a cow. You survive by being a leopard, or by being the jungle itself. Be the jungle. Build the ecosystem. Own the platform. The death of the middle class is a tragedy for society, yes. It will cause unrest. It will cause political instability. We will see riots. We will see radical politicians. But you cannot help the world if you are drowning with it. Secure your oxygen mask first. Build your ark. Then, and only then, can you help others. This is the call to action. Stop sleepwalking. Look at the data. Look at the K-shape. Draw a line in the sand today. Tell yourself, I will not be the collateral damage of history. I will be the architect of my future. The gap is widening. The bridge is burning. Jump.